Hello guys, NautoAis here, and I want to give my thoughts on the latest Donkey Kong game, but not the game itself. Of course, Nintendo did the Nintendo Direct for Donkey Kong Bananza, and I have to say for that Direct, it's actually good, very informative, very interesting, and of course, no matter what, if the rumors are true that the developers are from the people who did Mario Odyssey, then it's on good hand. It looks good. It looks fun. It is what it is. The feature, the story behind it, the shocker to some extent, it's going to be exciting. A lot of people want to talk about it, to a point that some even people said this game should have been a launch game, but it is what it is. So I'm not going to be talking about the Direct itself and the lore, because there is something, to some extent, sort of people are getting confused, thinking too much about it, but I'm going to say about this. So yes, in the Nintendo Direct for Donkey Kong Bananza, they revealed that there's going to be a young Pauline that's going to team up with Donkey Kong. A lot of people are theorizing, is this a Donkey Kong Country? Is this based on Donkey Kong the original, a prequel to that game? I mean, they're even thinking that Donkey Kong Bananza is a prequel to the original Donkey Kong. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion, but I'm going to say about this. When it comes to the lore and story from Nintendo, you know they're not really in-depth with stories, right? I mean, AJ Numa with the Zelda series, they had admitted with Tears of the Kingdom that, yeah, there is a story there is sort of a timeline, but they don't prioritize it, and to some extent, they don't really care about the lore. I mean, yeah, they can make you happy about it to some extent, but they don't really prioritize when it comes to the lore and story. The factor that important for them first is gameplay, having fun playing the Zelda game, and then the story and the lore. It is what it is. That's what I heard from the interview. But anyway, going back to Donkey Kong. All I can say about the story, the lore is, don't think too much about it. Wait until the game comes out. Then maybe they'll explain why Pauline's young. What's the deal? Is it the same Pauline? Is it not? Is it an alternate timeline? Who knows? Even for me, I responded to someone said, don't think too much about it. Maybe it's Pauline that went back in time. That's why she's young. Maybe it's a different Pauline. Maybe it's a clone. Maybe it's a different person with the same name. Who knows? Time-wise, the timeline, no one knows. I don't even know, and we'll just have to wait and see. And the reason I want to talk about sort of the timeline is, what is the real timeline for Donkey Kong? Again, believe it or not, I think a lot of people even believe that, even I think to some extent, most at Nintendo, not everyone, because there are some people who are not happy about Donkey Kong Country. That was a rumor, but there were some story about that the main timeline for Donkey Kong is the Donkey Kong Country, and that yes, the original Donkey Kong and the Donkey Kong Country games and those newer ones are canon. They are in the same timeline. Kind of like in Street Fighter 6, where Terry and Mai apparently know the Street Fighter gang, because Terry basically mentioned 20 years about Ken. And if you remember from that game 20 years ago is Capcom versus SNK. It's been now fact that it is canon. I'm not surprised. Or better yet, here's another canon from Sakamoto for the Metroid, is that whether you like it or not, the original Metroid game, Metroid Prime game, Other M are in the same universe, and they are canon no matter what. According to Sakamoto, it even showed a hint in Metroid Dread that yes, whether you like it or not, shit that game all you want to no end, Metroid Other M is canon to the timeline to the Metroid series. I just want to share that because I see a lot of people shit on that game. I mean, it is what it is there. Anyway, going back to Donkey Kong, the belief from Nintendo and from Japan, Nintendo Japan, is that the Donkey Kong Country is part of the timeline from the original Donkey Kong. That yes, whether you like it or not, Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong Jr. I did talk about that before. And that Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong. And apparently there was even conversation that Cranky Kong basically mentioned some sort of adversary, Mario. How come Cranky Kong got old but not Mario? Who knows? Again, don't think too much about it. That sort of the real canon is Donkey Kong is formerly known as Donkey Kong Jr. Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong. That's why you don't see Donkey Kong Jr. Yes, in Mario Tennis, there's a Donkey Kong Jr. You'll say, oh, I'm so confused. Then probably try to think if it's canon, maybe it's a new Donkey Kong Jr. I mean, simple as that, maybe. Maybe it's not canon. Who knows? Again, Nintendo, when it comes to story, they don't prioritize it. It is what it is. However, I did mention that not everyone were happy with that idea because I was watching an Icon episode, the G4 show about Donkey Kong. There were reports, again, I don't know if it's concrete or not because I know the person actually to some extent denied about the story. And that is Shigeru Miyamoto. They said there was a story that he was not happy the direction they did with Donkey Kong Country, that he basically scolded the person who's in charge of Donkey Kong Country, and people were like, oh, what's going on? And that according to him, he was not happy. There were rumors also that because it was kind of capitalizing on his game, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which, again, going back to the timeline, the Yoshi Island games are prequel to the Super Mario Bros. Game. If you play Yoshi DS, it kind of confirmed that the Yoshi games are a prequel to the Mario Bros. Game, believe it or not. That there was a story in Yoshi DS, a bit of a spoiler, there was like 7 chosen Yoshi, they have different color, and then if you finish the game, you find out that there was a young green Yoshi, which is Yoshi from Super Mario World. Again, don't think too much about it. This is Nintendo. This is also the company to some extent that they decided to make Paper Mario and Mario Multiverse with Paper Jam. Gotta love that game. They should do a sequel, but again, that Paper Mario is not the same as regular Mario. Two different Mario. Multiverse. I know that's lazy, but it makes sense. The case with Donkey Kong Bananza, what does it mean? Is it canon to Country? Is it canon to the original? Who knows? And like I said, with Miyamoto, he's just not happy with the idea that to a point, they're trying to do headcanon. That was a rumor that to some extent that Shigeru Miyamoto, he's trying to kind of deny, kind of gatekeep that lore, that facts that Donkey Kong Jr. is the new Donkey Kong. Like, he wouldn't even acknowledge it. That's why even some sort of story like, oh, Donkey Kong is just Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong is Donkey Kong's grandpa, Diddy Kong is really Donkey Kong's nephew, and Donkey Kong Jr. is just somewhere there. I mean, there's a lot of people are trying to say, they have their own head canon. But like I said, whether you like it or not, from what I understand, I mean, I could be wrong, but to some extent, people at Nintendo Japan, minus Shigeru Miyamoto, they kind of said that Donkey Kong Country is canon to the original Donkey Kong game, and that Donkey Kong Jr. is the new Donkey Kong. To some extent, they don't want to acknowledge it because Shigeru Miyamoto was not happy with that. Again, you decide. Believe me or not, it's up to you. But this is the lore, this is the story behind about the Donkey Kong Country and Shigeru Miyamoto, that he was not a fan of the Country series to some extent. And the idea of making Donkey Kong Jr. the new Donkey Kong, for him, it's like, that's kind of weird. Why would you do that? To a point that his headcanon is, nope, that's still the original Donkey Kong. Again, you decide. I'm just going to say that. For me personally, I do prefer that Donkey Kong Jr. is the new Donkey Kong and that Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong. And there's like new bad guys. That's it. But again, you decide. Watch your headcanon. But just keep in mind that facts are facts. Metroid Other M is part of the Metroid series. Paper Mario and Mario are two different Mario multiverse. Capcom vs. SNK is canon to the Street Fighter or Capcom world, whether you like it or not. And for this one is Donkey Kong Jr. is the new Donkey Kong. Take it what it is. Just gonna leave it out there. So that's my thoughts about the lore, the timeline, because it is kind of interesting that there is a young Pauline. Could it be a prequel to the original Donkey Kong game? Who knows? Again, once the game comes out, there you go. Maybe they'll tell the story of what's going on. Maybe it's an alternate timeline. Maybe it's a multiverse. Who knows? And another one is, I do agree with Shigeru Miyamoto and the people behind Nintendo. Why did they redesign Donkey Kong for the new console? To give it more expression? I agree, because I'm not gonna lie, rare Donkey Kong, even though there's an expression, yeah, it's like, to some extent, it's really stiff. So I like what they did with the new Donkey Kong. It is sort of based on the original one. And to some extent, the movie, or better yet, those Donkey Kong stuffed animal dolls. So there you go. Again, just saying that one. And yeah, there is Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, props, again. But you just have to wait and see what's the deal. Again, like I said, Nintendo, when it comes to timeline and lore, they don't prioritize it to some extent. It is what it is. What can you do about it? So there you go, my thoughts about Not so much with Direct, but again, great Direct. That's going to be a good game. Is it worth $70? Well, it's an eye beholder. If a lot of Zelda fans think Skyward Sword HD is worth $60, that's up to you. Me personally, doesn't matter because I always say I want to buy my games on sale. I never really think a lot of this game worth that MSRP price, but I'm a cheap gamer. What do you expect? So anyway, with that, I'll see you guys later.